Hello, everyone. This is Will from the Inside Disney Infinity podcast with my co host Jason Haynes. Today is April 30th, 2014, US. I guess it's May 1st over there in Australia. And it is the evening of the Marvel Disney Infinity 2.0 announcement. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to bring you another Disney trailer or Disney Infinity trailer breakdown. Last time, 2 weeks ago, we broke down the teaser, and now we're going to do the same because they released it's kind of a continuation of that teaser with a lot more information. So we are going to break that one down for you now. So a couple ground rules. First off, we are only going to be referring to things that are in this trailer. We're not going to discuss anything about the announcement. We are going to have another show later this evening. Look for Inside Disney Infinity episode number 40 for all of that info. But for now, we're just going to look at the trailer. Some follow-up items that we discussed on the teaser breakdown. So it was confirmed that all of your unlocked assets from the first Infinity are going to be in Disney Infinity 2.0, including the Marvel version of that. That is pertinent because you see a lot of those assets in this trailer. So that and the only other ground rules, we're going to just talk about what we see. So Jason and I were not the biggest Marvel fans. We do know general Marvel knowledge, but forgive us and correct us in the comments if there are some other things that we miss that we're just not getting accurate. So with that, Jason, why don't you go ahead and pull up the video and let's get this thing started.
Alrighty, so yeah, let's rip into it. I personally, were you like me, Will, when you first saw the opening of this trailer, thinking, "Oh, great, they're just going to rehash the teaser at the very start," and we're like, "What? They couldn't find the time to do something new?" I thought that was, yeah, right at this moment, I'm thinking, "Are you kidding me? You're opening with something I've already seen."
Exactly. I mean, it starts off with the exact teaser. So, yeah, I was a little concerned that we weren't going to see anything else for a little bit, but then they came and surprised us.
Well, here's the first surprise. This is a new addition that wasn't in the first trailer. We can see. Well, you can't because of me. Hang on. There we
Jason's
have
on the
it.
way.
Just
So,
appeared. I wasn't in the original trailer either, but
so what is this first thing we're looking at?
well, this is Captain America clearly trying to take out Stitch.
Yeah, what's up with that, Cap?
Look at that, just barely misses.
Well, so this was our first indication that what we are seeing is different than what we saw in the teaser, because in the teaser there was no Stitch.
And I'll be honest, I completely missed that little Easter egg when I saw the trailer initially, because I was so just like fuming that Disney was showing me content I'd already seen. I'd got up at 3 a.m. in the morning, and don't you dare tell me that's all you're going to show me. But clearly, that was there just to mock me. So that's pretty cool. Don't know what that actually means, if anything. If that means we're going to get Stitch in the game in some form, but only time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, his stature, if you compare him to the scale of the building, he looks smaller than any character that currently exists. So who knows if this is going to be a playable character or maybe one of those new sidekick characters they talked about.
Definitely. Cool nonetheless.
Absolutely.
And I believe coming up we've got some more cameos here.
Yeah, we got two for all of those that were really paying close attention to the teaser today or to the trailer today. So first up, if you look up there on the pirate ship, that little lady looks kind of familiar, doesn't she, Jason?
Does definitely. I believe you've got a close up there, Will.
I do. I can't get it in frame. So yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but as you can clearly see, that is Merida with her bow and arrow. So that's pretty cool. Maybe it looks like we might get a brave playable character there. What do you think about that? I mean, we're always talking about wanting new princesses and new female characters, and this is definitely a well-liked character.
Ticks both those boxes.
Yep. But I think the biggest news in this scene is not actually Merida. If you're looking real close there, Jason, who is that in the lower right-hand corner of the screen?
That is one of my favorite villains, Maleficent, by the looks of it. Those horns are a dead giveaway, I dare say.
Yeah, they are. So here's a shot that's blown up, and you can clearly see it's Maleficent. And Jason, to me, this actually looks like the Angelina Jolie version that's coming in the soon-to-be released live-action movie.
And as because of that, it is yet to be determined if that was the correct choice or not. Because I am a huge fan of the cartoon version of Maleficent, and if Angelina doesn't do a phenomenal job of it, that could be a misstep.
Well, I could see her doing a good job. But yeah, I agree. It remains to be seen. So you kind of came to that conclusion because the cartoon version is generally a green color, right? Her skin is green.
Slightly greener, I believe.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. And it makes sense with the movie coming out real soon that it would be the movie version of the character.
Well, again, I guess that's what most kids, I suppose, are going to know at the end of the day. As mentioned before, I don't know how prevalent. I'm one of those good parents that show their kids old Disney cartoons, but I don't know how many parents of my generation are doing the same. So I guess you've got to make it relevant to whoever the next gen is, I guess.
Definitely, definitely.
I think we've got a villager that represents the old version, worst case anyway, don't we? Isn't there a Maleficent villager person in the game?
Yep. Village person, yeah.
Yeah. So here we go. We're approaching the brand new footage. We've seen all this part before. We mentioned that.
And Jason, I wanted to post in the comments. So I'm guessing some people in the comments posted that this is the sword from the Sword in the Stone, I think. Although it looks different to me.
Which sword? The one that Mike's holding?
Yes.
Oh,
which is
okay.
right, because that's Excalibur, I think. But whatever. That's not really relevant to this conversation.
No. Although I will also mention, I actually didn't pick up on this joke till I watched the trailer this time, the fact that he's trying to kill the robot and then the Captain America shield beheads it. I didn't really grasp that.
I forgot about that too.
Probably because we went through such detail with the trailer last time that I just didn't get to take it in its full,
Right.
And so here we are.
Yeah. So last time the shield just came full frame and covered up the screen, and so we didn't see Captain's hand or anything. So this is our first indication outside of a shield that we are seeing some Avengers.
And
Bam.
And it'll be interesting to see because this still looks like Captain America. I don't know. Do you think this is switched to in-game footage now?
Yes. And the reason I think that is because some of the shots we have of actual action shots looks very similar to this character model.
Those eyes there look a little bit dead painted on, don't they? I think we can firmly say that this is somewhat in-game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They still look a little high res, but it's still hard to tell because during the show I was picking up on. So half the time I couldn't tell whether they were showing on different platforms, but sometimes it looked lower resolution than others, and even in this trailer, there's some moments where, it's hard to tell, which is a good thing.
I agree.
But do we really? I suppose we need to introduce these characters, don't we? I guess.
So it's the Avengers plus one, which is Director Fury, which is pretty awesome. So it looks like all of these characters, including Director Fury, are going to be playable characters, and there's actually some evidence to support that later here. Let's talk about these two. I'm really stoked to see Hawkeye and Black Widow as playable characters because those are two characters that in the movies are kind of, they're on the fringe. But I really dig. They're interesting characters to me, and I dig that they are in the game.
And really good likenesses. Don't you think? Like they've captured. I can't remember what's the actress's name that plays
Scarlett Johansson for Black Widow.
Yeah, that's got a real. You can get the hint of it, can't you, without being overt. And I just think that's really well modeled. in my
Mhm.
opinion.
I agree. Yeah, and you know, it unlike like from the first one, unlike Captain Sparrow and oh the the other movie, the Lone Ranger. These look more like caricatures of the characters mixed with the actors, which I think is
Yes.
kind of a good thing because unlike Pirates of the Caribbean, there's one movie, there's one property, but here you're dipping into cartoons, the movies, and comic books. So I think this is, and especially Thor there. I mean, he kind of looks like a animated version of himself.
And I think it's also worth mentioning here, I mentioned it to Will before the show, that this is kind of unique and clearly they've been designed in Infinity. Um, it's an Disney Infinity style, which is a style of its own, which is based on toys
Hmm.
and very angular. I've already seen a lot of comments online about people saying that that they've Pixar'd up the Marvel characters, which, yeah, I mean that's a fair representation of anyone who hasn't really studied the art of what Disney Infinity is. But I just think it's
Right.
significant because there is no distinguishing between these characters and the other existing Disney franchises. If you were to
No.
put if this lineup had continued on with the Incredibles, you would assume that they're all from the same universe.
Yep.
You know what I mean? This is the first real sense of Disney owning Marvel as a company, and it's super uniform, and I love it because it's not jarring.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It is Marvel conforming to the Disney Infinity universe, not the other way around, and I think that's important for the brand of the game.
Exactly, exactly. And as 30-year-old male, I can contest that. Like even though it might appear kiddie, I think they get around that by targeting by saying these are toys. It's
Hmm.
playing with toys. It's not supposed to be a gritty rendering of your favorite character. This is what it's the essence of what you're doing with the figure, playing with it as a toy.
Right. Yep. I agree.
Um, so here we get our first look at the addition, and that's the important fact, the addition of new elements in the existing Infinity world, because you can see that the Marvel stuff is coming in alongside the
Hmm.
existing Infinity stuff, like the classic cave of
Cave of
Wonders from
Wonders,
Aladdin and so on.
Toy Story playset. We have the Avengers Tower there, which is that's an important key because it appears that the Avengers Tower is the playset piece for the Marvel characters from the shots we've seen.
Yes. That Iron Man's super cool. I,
Yeah, he is, and he looks so much fun to play. I cannot wait
oh,
to
totally.
fly around the toy box with him. So yeah, let's
Oh, actually, that's it. I think clearly Hulk looks like he's probably going to be the biggest figure out there.
They also said today in the announcement that Hulk is going to be have the most powerful attack. So in Disney Infinity 1, that was Mickey.
Yeah. We should also state it's unclear what, because this is clearly in-game footage. You can tell that
Mhm.
this is in-game models, but they seem to have possibly still maybe put their own animation on top of the actual in-game rendered models. But it is unclear to which version they're actually
Mhm.
displaying it. You'd assume it's next-gen PS4, Xbox One, but that may not necessarily be the case.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it looks high res from our eyes, our gamer eyes, but yeah, who knows? It could be. We don't really know what it is.
Yeah. Seems like there's going to be a lot of interaction with the ground, as there seems a lot
Hmm.
of cracking effects that could go along
Yeah,
with all the different characters, which is kind of cool.
a lot more particle effects. We see that in a
Yeah.
few different places. So here's some in-game footage. There's the bad guy. Jason and I, we saw this right before show start, but you can see he's a toy. I mean, look at the joints, the leg joints. Looks just like your GI Joes as a kid, and the arm joint there.
I love that. I really love that.
I do too. And they've always kind of had that like toy breaking apart look, but I
Yeah.
dig that detail.
Well, again, it's a great way of avoiding the issues of violence with young kids, if you know what I
Mm.
mean. It doesn't seem anywhere near as violent if it's just your toy getting broken, so to speak.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And that's a really cool animated texture, by the way, at the top there, the way that sky's moving.
Yep. And there's
We assume it's a sky dome. We don't know. This is probably, let's be honest, this is probably playset footage, you'd imagine.
some of it is and some of it isn't. I think. So there's that
Textures
more.
look way cool. That cape's got some phenomenal lighting going on it right there.
It does, and it does look like there's some physics involved with that as well.
Yes, definitely. I remember them saying in the thing about how they put real world New York buildings and stuff in the
Hmm.
game as well, which is interesting. Which I
Yep.
guess it makes sense if it's based in that universe.
Yeah. They said that world is 4 times larger than the Incredibles playset city right now too, which is pretty impressive.
And this is obviously clearly toy box building going on here.
Toy box building. Here is Captain America flying around. So this is something they confirmed, and you can see in action here is the ability to actually fly with characters.
It's
And
interesting. One of those rockets.
I couldn't figure out what these are. If you look on the back, there's actually kind of the logo. They're to your right. There's those glass tubes, I think, that are shooting them out. And
Right.
I'm sure that's
Oh
something
yeah.
from Marvel.
Yeah, they're like air turrets type thing.
Hmm. So here's a
All I see when I see this, there was like, I just want to play an Astro Boy game when I see that.
Oh, that's too perfect. So here's more toy box building. If you pause there for just a second, Jason, so look at that center structure there, the spiral going up. That's
Yes,
brand new. We don't know what that's a new toy box asset. And then even above that and to the left, you see kind of what looks like a parking garage or something that's also new and never been seen, as well as the ground textures on that road.
that spiral looks like wooden plank type
Mm-hmm.
like path, doesn't it? Clearly, they've added a really impressive tree building mechanic in this game because
Yep,
if that's the one thing we saw a lot of, we saw a lot of tree elements for
that's true.
climbable trees. So I wouldn't mind betting that we get to see some Swiss Family Robinson type elements in
Yeah.
this or Tarzan stuff, possibly in this one. Also, what do you think of that path? Is that maybe Atlantis
I'm
themed?
thinking it's some sort of like Asgardian path.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a guess.
Sub in
So
whatever you believe.
can you back up just a little bit before the road? This is a stretch, so forgive me. But hey, that's all we're doing is guessing here.
Yeah.
Bottom left, what texture are on those buildings? It looks almost like a Hispanic texture. You don't think it could be like an Epcot texture, like building texture, do you?
The sandy buildings down the bottom here,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
or maybe that's the fabled what's it call it Emperor's New Groove texture.
It could be Emperor's New. That would be epic. That would make a certain someone very happy.
Yes.
We're talking to you, Steve C.
So that's kind of cool. Oh, here we go. Introduction of motorbikes.
Oh, so this has two awesome things. So you said one, right, Jason?
Yeah, the motorbikes.
Which is fan
And
requested. And for
wasn't my
anyone that
fan request, but it must have been someone's.
mine too, but I love it. I mean, it's kind of classic Cap, right?
And it looks like a boost mechanic there, which I guess
Mm,
we had boosts on cars, so I guess we can confirm that bikes will also be able to boost.
makes sense.
Yes.
There in the background is Agent Coulson's Lola, which has a secondary ability that they even show off. It does have the ability to hover, which is kind of cool. So who knows if that means we're going to get some secondary driving mechanics for certain vehicles.
That Captain America's so cool. And here we have the flying bike type, I guess,
Yeah, it's we looked it up. I can't remember what it's called, but it's also a Marvel thing.
which
So
fires rockets. This is just confirmation that this was clearly testing tech for the speeder bikes when the Star Wars eventually hits, because that's pretty much a speeder bike right there.
Totally.
All right, here we go. We're only about halfway through this trailer. It's already delved out way more information than I expected.
So, yeah, let's go ahead. Actually, we get a better scene of that in the future, so let's keep going past this part.
Is that lighting impressive, or is that just me? Look at the leaves in the bottom right-hand corner of that screen.
No, it looks pretty awesome to me.
Like, that looks like it's got some pretty upgraded lighting effects to me.
Mm-hmm.
Shadows and so on. Just
Yep.
even the shadows around Iron Man there just seem softer and nicer. He's clearly a complex character with all the different,
Mm-hmm. Animations and
United States Parcel Service postbox over there, I see.
yeah,
Sponsors. Now, that's obviously... Is that a New York bridge, Will?
it is Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
Yep.
Never been to New York before.
One day, my friend.
We'll
have to go for an Infinity announcement.
Some unfortunate tire clipping there by looks of it on the clearly in-game footage.
Now you're just being picky.
But it looks like a cool car.
It does.
And again, it looks like it's got some neat roll physics.
Mm-hmm. So here we have Cap beating up a baddie.
And some interesting depth of field effects there. Again, I don't know whether that's something they've done post... just lighting effects in general, really.
So this right here.
Yeah.
So does this... And we see another shot of it coming up, but does this mean there's going to be some level of destructible environments, or is this just a texture mesh that's going on top of that?
It's a good question, and I'm not sure whether it's in this trailer. I think we'll see.
So
we'll come back to that because it comes back. We'll come back to it when it comes back. But yeah, go on.
So this part's really important. The reason it's so important is because although we saw Director Fury early on, this is pretty much proving that he's a playable character because he is on a similar bike to Captain in that other screen.
Absolutely, which means basically confirmed he's one of the characters, like the figures we're going to get.
Which is awesome.
Also, I want to mention that these cars, that's not something we haven't had before. These seem like, possibly AI-based cars that may be able to travel roads, or whether they're just placeable items, I don't know. But clearly, as we'll see later on, they can be used as weapons.
Yep. Yeah, and the Incredibles playset, we didn't have anything like that. I don't think.
No, they didn't even have any. Couldn't even have any like. There was no like atmosphere elements at all, as far as like crowds or anything like that. So.
So here we're back to what we saw a few minutes ago, Jason. And so what does this right here tell you?
I don't know. You tell me.
So I think this means, well, they did announce that characters are going to have modifiers, and so this could be a skill tree upgrade, or it could be a different type of power disc.
Very good point.
And that's huge because that's something I know you and I have discussed lots on the show. But it's what it's proving to us is that these characters are going to have, I would say, an additional value that does not exist in current characters.
Yeah. Great animation.
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed. The animations are so cool in this game. They're also they're exaggerated because they're toys. They don't have to conform to normal physics.
Yeah. And again, this looks like just something that will happen every time you hit the ground, as you said, like just a texture paint-on effect, which is cool. Whatever. We don't need full-on destruction. But here's the shot.
Yeah,
that's interesting to me because if you look at those buildings, it looks like you can see through them. Now I don't know whether that, again, it's probably just a texture thing again, but at least that's cool that it's not just a change of texture. It looks like it'll change at the level where it at least appear. Mm-hmm. I'm sure the building's not going to come crashing down, but that's a good layer of detail as far as those textures are concerned, I feel.
And it's kind of destruction. I hate to say it, but it's kind of a staple of the Marvel universe, right? At this point, with all the movies, so it definitely adds some authenticity in that respect.
And look at the bottom left hand here. We've definitely got a taxi moving. Oh, you can't see it because of me again. Get out of the way, Jason. Seriously. I don't know if you can see that. It might be cut off. There's definitely a
Yeah.
taxi moving in the bottom left-hand corner there. So those cars must be able to either move by themselves or
Hmm.
something like that.
Well, in other shots at the announcement, they did show both people walking around the playset, the Marvel playset, as well as cars. So I think we can pretty much confirm that,
Yeah.
which is a great improvement too.
Okay. Right. So now we're basically hitting the villain section.
Hmm.
But I do just want to again look at the texture of that building texture in the background. They seem much crisper,
It does.
much more detailed, don't they?
Yep.
And it's interesting, this freezing effect. This is why I wonder whether this is in a playset, because that seems like a complex thing to like
Mhm.
have ice taking over a section of a toy box.
Yeah. Well, it would make sense since for the most part, all the buildings we've seen have been of New York. So this is awesome. We have Loki, a one of the most popular villains, at least of recent years because of the movies. And then we have a more traditional Marvel villain right there. His name's MODOK. So
And
that's
I think it's worth making a comparison here. I'm trying to think. In Disney Infinity 1, can you think of any villains, or any character for that fact, that was that detailed in Disney Infinity 1 that was not a figure?
nope.
Me either. So I think we could almost lock in that at least Loki's going to
At
be
least, yeah.
one of the figures.
At
I don't know
least
about this
Loki.
other Krang-looking fellow, but
That's what I think of. I think of Krang too from Ninja Turtles.
yeah. But I don't know. I think that's pretty good hints
Yeah,
at some of the other figures that are yet to be announced.
agreed. Along with I think this next scene here. Oh, it's coming up.
I love that scene right there. That looks amazing.
Again, those particle effects.
Yeah.
So
And they've
awesome.
even got like that's got a real animated look to it too, which I quite like. It's not.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Again, I don't know who those bad guys are, but they look fun to fight, I guess.
Yeah.
And
So
here we go
here's.
with the vehicle kill. And I like that it's Infinity number plate, I'm sure. New York Infinity number plate,
I
mind
didn't
you.
even notice that. Look at that up in the upper left hand. Oh no, in the taxi.
And it's really cool. I like the Infinity
Awesome.
insignia on the grill
Yep, yep.
logo. That's
That,
cool.
that's awesome. Hey, talk about detail.
Yeah, very cool. This is, I mean, everyone raves about. I never played it, but there was a Hulk game that came out years ago. I can't remember what it was called, Hulk Destruction or Hulk Smash or whatever,
Yeah.
where it was literally just cruising through a city, destroying everything.
Mhm.
I think you're going to get that right
I think
here.
so. I agree.
More weapons. I just love the diversity of these attacks. It's not like in Disney Infinity where everything was just like you had a melee, and if you were lucky, you had a ranged weapon that pretty much did the same thing type thing. This clearly seems like they've spent a lot more time on their mechanics.
Agreed. Yeah, and it's going to make. I think that's going to make the figures so much more fun to play because there's a lot more diversity.
Definitely. Of course, here we have another two figures that are clearly going to come out.
Yep, which is good. This is the tree-looking guy is called Groot, and then he is sitting there with Rocket Raccoon, from both of which are going to be in the summer's what is it? Galaxy Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy, that's right.
Yeah, and so just to speak a little bit on this, Jason, my expectation is that Groot is going to be a playable character, and that Rocket Raccoon is going to be one of those kind of sidekick characters that they said are going to be Power Disc. So, or this could be a rare example of because these two characters are kind of they're so tied together in the comics and stuff. Maybe it's one character. I mean, one character.
Oh yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a tough call. Again, I'm
Mhm.
not familiar with the story, so I mean the movie looks like it'll be really good, and let's hope that we see those figures come out around the same time as the movie. Like this will
Mhm.
be out, I believe, before the movie,
Yeah,
so
I think so.
Looks like a new villain in the background there too. Looks like he's got bull horns. Classic. Really cool model anyway.
Yeah,
And was that? Oh no. There's still much more to come, isn't there?
there is.
Here we go. Hang on. We gotta go. I missed.
Oh, I know
Missed
this
the.
made you really happy, along with our good friend Pirate.
Yeah. Now we're guessing that this is Green Goblin or Hobgoblin or something Goblin. It's clearly a Goblin. Let's
Yeah,
let's let's say that much.
we see no bombs, but we do see the kind of hovercraft there. It's just Jason and I were both real confused about the character models, so we're not entirely sure.
But that looks like a fun thing to write on there. Like
Absolutely. If anything,
might be the new Dumbo
I
for cheating on toy boxes.
love it. Love it.
But of course, that was all just a prelude to the big reveal that we are indeed having Spider-Man in this
What?
game, which, as if that's not going to be a figure. Lock that in. Guarantee it.
Yeah, isn't that awesome? So this has been a topic of contention for the show for quite some time now because Sony still owns the movie rights for the Star Wars or for the Spider-Man franchise, but there's a Spider-Man XD show on the Disney Channel, so they must have enough rights to get Spider-Man in a video game.
Definitely. Definitely.
This
And
is
it's just, I can't imagine, like, I'm hoping people create, this would be a really fun character to play with on, like, collector challenges. If they had, like, you're just swinging through the city. I'm sure they're going to have a web swinging mechanic. And it'd be amazing to be able to, collect those orbs or whatever in have different
Mhm.
web swinging challenges. That'd be really sweet.
Yeah, all of the Spider-Man games I've played, the enjoyment came from swinging through the town, and it's going to be really fun to see what his combat abilities are as well.
I'm also noticing, and again, you can never tell because you don't know what's just set makeup, so to speak, but notice how the road's all cracked up and there's
Mhm.
destruction down there. I wonder if when you cause destruction like that, it's permanent
That would be pretty cool.
within the toy box or the game. That'd be nice, wouldn't it, if it remained like that so you could see the level of destruction that you caused in a certain area.
Yeah, as long as on the toy box you have the ability to kind of wipe the slate clean, and that could be as simple as reapplying a texture. If you have the New York City ground texture there, you just reapply it to clean it up.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that would be cool.
Could I just point that out? This
Yeah.
clear marketing effort of, like, we can see the low res spider here, which magically turns into a high resolution front on shot of Spider-Man's chest. So,
They really want
well,
to get the point
okay.
across.
Yeah,
Hey, we're appreciative of that.
absolutely, absolutely.
So that's it. So
Well,
that's pretty much the trailer breakdown, right?
yeah, I think it is. Oh, just the again confirmation that it's on everything but the original Wii.
Yep. I think it's safe to say, unfortunately, for some folks, that it's not going to be available on the Wii.
No, timed upgrade. Um, but and it's obviously got the release date there, fall 2014,
Yep.
spring 2014 for Australia.
Yep. Cool. Well, we learned a
So
lot, Jason.
I think we did, and I think I loved again. It was very subtle, but clearly they knew the hardcore would be studying these trailers, and again they've given us the clear hints that there will be Disney characters. I know there's already started because the starter set's called. There's a Marvel starter set coming out,
Yep.
and there's already a lot of confusion out there. I think that most people think it's exclusively Marvel version of Disney Infinity, but I think those Easter egg characters are put there again for the hardcore to realize that no, there are other Disney franchises, more information coming.
Agreed. Agreed. I think Jason are both in agreement in stating that Disney Infinity 2.0 is going to have a large Marvel component, but it's also going to continue that Disney component as well. So.
Well, this has been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to. We plan to break down all the other footage we saw in today's press event as soon as it becomes available to us.
Yes. Yeah, we are breaking down full quality footage, so unfortunately we won't be doing any more of that today. We're going to wait until we get the 1080p shots like we did, like we just ran down. So, but stay tuned. Check out our YouTube, youtube.com/Disney Infinity TV, or you can go to the website DisneyInfinity.tv for all of this content and more. Make sure you check out the podcast, and we hope to see everyone real soon. Thank you so much, Jason.
No problems. Have a good day.